Okay, calling case 16-3290, People of the State of Michigan versus Radu Muntean. He is here for sentencing, Your Honor.
Good morning, Your Honor. Chair Muntean on behalf of the people.
Good morning, Judge. I'm David Paul Patricus. I'm retained co-counsel for Mr. Muntean. He is present in court, Judge. He stands to my right.
So, have you reviewed the pre-sentence report prepared in this manner?
I have, Judge.
Anything you'd like to say, Your Honor?
Just very briefly, Judge, the only word that comes to mind at a moment like this is tragedy. It's tragedy for the complaining victim, for their young child, for my client. Beyond that, Judge, I'll keep my remarks brief this morning.
Anything from the people?
Judge, I have no changes to the body of the report. The only thing I'd like to ask is, as to the guidelines, I would like OB3 to be scored at 25 for the life-threatening or permanent injury that occurred to Ms. Muntean. I believe that defense counsel will stipulate.
Which OB?
OB3, Judge.
I will, Judge, and I have consulted with brother co-counsel on that. It does not change the grid or the scoring guidelines, so we would stipulate to that.
At OB3 for flat.
OB3 should be 25 points for the life-threatening or permanent incapacitating injury that occurred to Ms. Muntean.
So the total OB
would be 140.
All right.
Aside from that, Judge, I'm asking for a sentence at the top of the guidelines, which would be a sentence of 18.75 years, plus the 2 for the felony firearm. Your Honor, I had an opportunity to listen to the testimony in this case. We know from hearing Ms. Muntean and her description of the horrific things that she suffered at the hands of the defendant, the torture, the being in the car for 17 hours, being shot in the leg, stabbed, beaten about the head, left in that car. She was found naked from the waist down, her hypothermic, as the EMS worker testified. Based on the egregious nature of that, I think that a sentence at the top of the guidelines is appropriate, reminding the court that the guidelines are only advisory now and the court could go higher if the court chose. You also heard the testimony of the defendant in this case, in which he testified inconsistently and largely blamed Ms. Muntean for what happened to her, and took no responsibility. Testified inconsistently that he had to think about what happened after he shot her in the leg. He had to pull off to a secluded place. He just happened to end up in that field. Based on the egregious nature, Judge, I think that a sentence at the top of the guidelines is appropriate in this case.
All right. Anything from the defense? Sir, is there anything you'd like to say?
I haven't had the chance to say this yet because I wasn't allowed to, but I'd like to ask for forgiveness from my wife. I know I've treated her bad in the previous months before this event, and I'd like to beg for leniency from the court. The biggest victim in this case is actually my daughter. She'll lose a father if I'll be gone for a long time, and she deserves to have a father.
It's your fault.
It is.
It's your fault.
It is.
What you did is one of the most mean and evil and bizarre things I've ever seen a human being do to another human being. This is the mother of your child. And you would do that to her.
I wouldn't have done it.
You're evil. You are an evil, evil person. I can't imagine anyone doing this to anyone. You tortured her all that time. Just evil and mean. Court has viewed the pre-sentence report prepared in this manner. The court tells the circumstances of the case to the defendant's background. The court believes the defendant can be rehabilitated. The court certainly considers deterrence, punishment, protection of society to the sentence of the court. And to the assault with intent to do great bodily harm less than murder. That's 80 months to 120 months unlawful imprisonment. 10 up 15 years, 2 years with a felony firearm, 1 year for the domestic violence aggravated as to the torture, 2 225, 450 months. Everything will run concurrent except for the felony firearm, which is consecutive. You get credit for 34 days. Serve for 1 count. You must comply with DNA testing and pay a $60 fee. You must pay $340 state costs. A crime assessment of $130. For a cost of $1,500. You have the constitutional right to appeal this conviction to a higher court. If you are without funds to hire a lawyer for your appeal, the go and appoint a lawyer for you, no cost to you. Will give the lawyer portions of your transcripts and records that the lawyer would need to effect your appeal. So, serve your sentence. Take one.